All right, let's do it live on a Tuesday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. Merely Bo, the great Z. How you living, buddy?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Other than this, the weather's depressing, but you know what? This Cleveland Browns football team, they are the sun.
They're going to have to light the life.
They're going to light it up.
They're going to light us up, baby.
Yeah.
These are dark times, these.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
it was brutal. Brutal coming over here. There's an update that happened. I don't know if this happened on your mode of transportation as well, but where now if it senses inclement weather, it will not let you go to a certain speed. So I actually had to drive, and I was kind of upset about that. Yeah.
It's outrageous.
It's outrageous.
I don't know. Mine's getting worked on right now. Potco took care of me. One of the door handles did one of their, they stick.
Yeah.
Just put normal handles on the car. Like, I think it's cool that they go in, and it's all great, but if it was just a normal handle, this would never happen.
Then you're fine. Yeah, I have no worry about it.
Just give me a handle.
Yeah, this is tough.
It is tough.
And we are staring down the barrel. The Browns have a chance to lift us all. They're going to lift all of our moods over here over the next couple of weeks, and it's imperative that they do so. The weather is going to be brutal, really, from now probably the next till what, April?
Yeah, that's fair.
Something
Maybe
like
a few
that.
days in March. We'll get some nice days in March.
Get a couple of days in March to titillate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead, Gibbe.
Awful. It's awful.
Finally, yes, we are all in agreement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is no hope that it's ending anytime soon now.
Now
we're in it.
You said something before the show when we were talking that I think is something I didn't realize as much even a year ago at this time because Buddy Garrity was just a wee little lad. But now that he's out and living in it, this is impossible.
The mud.
The mud is impossible.
The muck.
Like he can't do anything. If he goes out, he needs to be bathed almost on the way back in.
Yeah. I mean, and it's one of those, like today I'm like, oh, it's going to be 47 degrees. What's the first thing I do before I take the dogs out? I go downstairs. I flip the hot water back on outside.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I'm going to need this.
You're going to need to wash
them. Come back in.
It's a mess.
Awful.
Yeah. The wind is the one this morning that got me. I walked him this morning, and that just cuts you in half.
40-mile-an-hour
does.
winds
For
the next 2 days.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That gets you. And then it's going to blow in the cold, and then we're in it.
The problem is all this rain eventually turns to ice when it drops.
So
that
it will
become a bigger problem.
Well, so that's the only thing here will be like all I'm going to hear. Look at this.
The debutante. That's DTR's dog, Bruin.
DTR's dog is being walked around by the debutante.
Yes. He's doing a feat. They're doing a feature on his.
Bring
dog
him in here.
Today.
Yeah, bring that guy in here.
That is he is.
Does he have a name on that guy? Do we have
Bruin.
a name? Bruin is his name.
Yeah.
Fantastic. As it would be. It's a perfect name.
Should be.
It's a great name.
Have the debutante bring him in here for the people on the stream so they can see this guy. Is it an English bully or is it a French bulldog? It was from
It's not a Frenchie.
So it's an English bulldog. Is it a miniature English bulldog?
I think
he feels get one of the Unos to bring. Get Uno to bring it in, or the debutante, one of the two. When somebody to bring this dog in here.
Let's get him.
Get that guy up here, Z. Lift him up. Lift him up, debutante. Let's see. Oh, he's gorgeous. Put him on the stream. Get him in the middle here.
Look at that.
Look at this guy.
The debutante and Bruin.
Oh, he's got a light eyes, name brand leash, and collar.
Oh, baby.
Boy, he looks great. Look at that guy.
This guy.
Look at that guy's got light eyes too.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a beauty.
I mean, you could
English bulldog.
He is an English bulldog.
The debutante. You're hearing the echo of the debutante here. That's very good. Very good. This is your debut on CBD, I believe, too. Yeah.
He's an English bulldog beagle mix.
Oh, it's a beak.
And
What do they
he's-
call those? Well, we don't know. We don't want that. We have
I
electronics.
I just took him out.
But you get nervy at this age.
Hey.
Yeah, we don't. Let's.
And he is.
What am I going to catch it?
He's showing off his hind quarters.
His hind quarters looks great. Look at that guy.
He's Dorian
gorgeous.
Thompson Robinson's puppy.
Yeah.
And
He's such a puppy. He's got puppy smell.
Bruin did his That's My Dog debut this morning.
All right.
Oh wow.
Bruin.
Very good job. There is a name for the Beagle Bulldog mix.
You're gonna be a big boy. Oh, thank you.
Oh yeah. So that's what he'll look like when he's all grown. He look like that. Good job. How old is he?
He's 4 months old.
4 months old. Oh, okay. All right. Well, good job, bud. Fantastic effort out of you, debutante.
There's Drew. He's been loving Drew.
We're gonna give him a little wave from Bruin.
There you go. Drew doesn't give 1/10 of one. He's got his own boy.
He's got his own.
His own
Woodford.
boy. Yeah, Woodford.
Come here, sweetie.
There you go.
There it is.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at this. You got him?
I think she's got him.
She got him. There he
Got
is.
him.
Look at him.
Bruin.
Got him.
Gorgeous. Gorgeous dog.
What a
Good
treat.
job.
Just look at these wrinkles. Look at these folds.
That's what you want out of that
man.
guy.
Oh, yeah. This guy's
Look at
gonna-
the attentiveness.
Look at him.
Very
Look at
calm.
him.
Very calm. He just
Nice champion.
Soft fur. Very soft.
very good.
Puppy soft. Oh, Bruin. All right.
All right,
Are
good
you
job.
Bruin, are you in the barking backers?
say yes.
Oh, you love the sniff.
It's a great sniff.
It's a great
It's
sniff.
a great sniff. I think that was a
Good
yes.
job. I think so. I
I
think he's in
deciphered.
bargain. Yeah,
Bye-bye.
good job. Good job, debutante. Good job, Bruin. Thank you for stopping by.
What a moment.
Beautiful. That was great.
Browns by 1 billion.
Come on.
Bruins in the house.
Bruins in the
By
house
the way, when he
cruising
caught
around.
that squat, I was
That's where I said it. I mean, you got Asa, I got Buddy Garrity. You know how
Yeah,
this
no,
can
no,
go.
yeah.
And at that age,
Oh,
and debutante was so confident, like, oh yeah, I just taking him out easy. Like at that age,
they care.
they
They're like,
don't
oh, this
care,
is
man.
exciting.
He-
I'm on TV.
Yeah, I'm nervy.
I'm gonna pee.
Things happen. I was gonna catch it. I don't know.
I know. You were on his back.
Just to save the glass. I mean,
Nah,
Gibby's.
save your hand, dude.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, I mean, like
Yeah.
Saban Gibby's set up here on the studio that Gibby
That he
built,
built.
hand by hand, brick by brick.
Yeah.
Um,
He whittled this from one piece of
He
the
did,
glass.
yeah. So we will get back to practice. It's going to start at 3:00 today. So practice will start
Yeah.
at 3 today. Today is considered a Wednesday in the building,
It's the first Friday.
so it's a first Friday. So they moved all the week up because you play Saturday at 4.
This week's just going to go by so fast. I
Yeah,
think.
I agree, and I like the Sunday slot is my favorite
Yeah.
for period. But even if when you make the postseason, I like that. I like the Sunday spot. Keeps everything kind of on the normal scale. Once you win this week, then now you're in. Now we're
You have the most rest of anybody.
yeah,
You're in
you
the
feel pretty
catbird
good
seat.
about things
Yeah.
at that point. Yeah.
Oh, baby.
Back to Houston we go.
Back to Houston we go. Scene of did anything happen in Houston last night?
I wasn't watching.
Yeah. You didn't. Why would you?
One thing I'll say on that, I saw this a lot from Buckeye fan last night and even this morning, and I took some to task this morning. Stop it with the they won't have that. That'll get taken, cheated. Forget that. Look, dude, that went public at the end of October.
Yes.
They won every game on the field from that point on, largely in dominant fashion. It had nothing to do with what happened in Ann Arbor. It had nothing to do with what happened in the Rose Bowl. Whatever you think of them or whatever,
They won.
They bought in.
Yeah.
He had blinders on. He is a damn fine football coach. I didn't think he'd ever get to this point. This is what he was hired to do at Michigan when he was hired all those years
Yes.
ago. And he fell on his face for the first 5 years, and then he got his sea legs about him.
Yep.
And they're a different program now. I have no idea what's going to happen to the program tomorrow or next week. My hunch is he won't be there. My hunch is it'll be an entirely different look and feel of the program.
Kid's
Before-
still very confident, the kid.
let the kid live.
Oh, man.
Just live, man. He deserves it. He did it. He pulled it off. And I saw people say, "Oh, that's going to get taken." It's not going to get taken
No.
away because
Not-
the NCAA doesn't have anything to do with football, and this is a college football playoff. The NCAA doesn't have any jurisdiction of it at all, and the College Football Playoff Committee has proven that they have no interest in any sort of dealing with adjudicating rules that were broken or not. So it's
Yeah.
going nowhere.
By the
And
way,
even if it did, it happened on the field. So who cares?
I'm glad you took people to task. That's a very loser mentality.
Stupid.
It's outrageous. Yeah, they
ridiculous.
You know what's crazy is too, and you are certainly much more attuned to the game. By the way, sad RIP the Pac-12. Last opportunity for a great moment would have
Yeah.
been great. They're not
Yeah.
going to get it. When did we get to college teams that were 15-0?
So it's been happening for a while.
Because it used to be like
12.
10 to 12, right?
Yeah.
If you played all the
Yeah.
way, right? If you were in a bowl game or whatever,
So
you got 12.
I want to say Ohio State in 02 played 14 games, and that was before there was a playoff because they had like a preseason game, and so there's been that before. Next year to win a national title, it'll be 16 because they're doing a 12-team playoff. So if you are one of the wild card team, one of the non-top 4 teams who get a bye, you're going to play a total of 16.
So the rookie wall in the NFL is no longer a thing. You're used to it.
Yeah.
By the way, Gibbe, I got to sit down with JOK earlier today.
Yep.
Gibbe, he had a little shot for you in there. Have you listened to that one yet?
I have not. I was just saving
A shot at
everything
Gibbe?
archiving.
I don't know if it was at Gibbe per se, but I'll give just a little quick spoiler. So I was asking him about, playing huge games. I'm like, you obviously played in big games at Notre Dame, but now you're playing in the playoffs in the NFL. Like what? how excited are you being this big of a stage? And he was like, for me, he's like, I always played my best games on the big stage. If we played like in Alabama or we play, whatever. He kind of went through some teams. He goes, the games that were hard for me is when we played like Bowling Green. That's what he said. He's
Use
like,
that absolutely.
Yeah, Bowling
that's
Green.
the example.
Yeah.
Oh my
They
gosh.
destroyed.
He's like, I wasn't.
I
that
think
good.
I
He's like,
watched the
Bowling
first
Green.
5 minutes of that game, and it was like, all right, I know how this ends.
Well, that's
They couldn't stop the tight end that day.
this
remember.
is
I know
like
exactly
one of
what
those.
game.
It's like next year Ohio State's first 4 games or all that. It's just nonsense. So it's I thought Michigan was the best team. They deserved it. They were sensational. I think the Harbaugh had a funny line this morning that it's funny but true, and it kind of sucks a little bit. You mentioned the Pac-12. He said we had a time this summer where an entire conference went in the portal, and it did. That happened. Like the sport as it
And
was
a conference
known
that he's near and dear to his heart.
for sure. He was at Stanford, knows it
Yeah.
well. Gone, evaporated. That I'm not always get off my lawn guy, but I'm gonna miss the regional aspect that sport had.
Yes.
And the fact that it's gone, the fact that and this is another part that really stings for Buckeye fan. Michigan got the last laugh, not only with this national title, but also in the rivalry, because that Ohio State-Michigan game will never be like that again, because it's possible that next year they will play the next week in the Big Ten championship game. It's possible they'll both make the playoff, and they could potentially play there. So in terms of a winner-take-all Ohio State-Michigan game, Harbaugh got the last one of those.
Yeah.
He did, and he's going to ride off into the sunset. My hunch is
I
it'll
hope
be
S isn't. Don't listen right now, S.
no, the S is not pleased. S was he was upset because I wasn't. He called me when I was on a plane, like on Friday. I was flying back from Miami, and he called me on the plane, and I had a missed call, and then I get back to him because we were getting home and all those things. He was like, "Well, I called you," and I'm like, "S,
I was traveling.
I'm traveling, can't do it."
S is on probation.
What did you do?
When you show up with a better team and a better effort than you
geez.
did against Missouri, then you can
that
call.
was a clown show.
Otherwise,
yeah,
Well,
they're
could-
trying to rebuild it. They're trying to
could-
sort it out.
Could changes be coming to Columbus
Well, to
in
the
light of the news of a half hour ago?
well, good tease for a little bit later. No,
even better job by you navigating that.
no, you did. We're good. Everybody wins.
to see that it was in the second
We're
segment
good.
and didn't make it. It was just
Yeah,
a tease.
it's a nice tease.
That was a tease.
No, not now, but perhaps. No, I mean, there's no question. There will be more pressure. Look at it now.
Look at the days. Things like almost painted
They
on.
do paint. Everything's
They paint
painted
it
on. They paint it on him.
Yeah.
Like a cartoon,
unreal.
like when you go into like the assembly line. They
Right.
Go,
Yeah.
there he goes. Looks great as always.
Perfectly tailored.
Yep. So he gets the last laugh on this thing.
Yeah.
My hunch is this ends the way that it did for Pete Carroll with USC, where he rides off into the NFL sunset. My hunch is with San Diego, or I guess LA now, to the Chargers. He goes to the Chargers. He coaches the Chargers. Michigan's going to have a mess to clean up. But it will not revolve. It will not have anything to do with taking away championships because they don't have any jurisdiction over this championship. So there will be some penalties for them. My guess is it'll be monetarily and probably restrictions in recruiting because you can get around scholarships with NIL. But he's going to have the last laugh, and anybody at Michigan is just going to remember that he won a national title. Went 14-0 his last year.
Yeah.
15-0.
Yes. The kid couldn't be more pleased.
Yeah.
Tickled.
Yeah, it's fine.
It was such an interesting game because it never was the best that you ever felt Washington could do was maybe tie the game at some point, but you didn't feel like they were going to ever take the lead.
A lot of credit to Michigan, their defense. I thought it was closer than it needed to be because Michigan stopped running. Like they could have just ran it.
Yeah,
Again, I don't know. You probably didn't watch the Michigan-Penn State game, but they ran it every play in the second half against Penn State because Penn State couldn't stop the run.
Yeah.
And I thought they could have done that yesterday against Washington. They just could have really just ran it every single time. They didn't. They started to throw it. They had the kind of a hanky fourth down where at the end of the half where they threw an out on 4th and 3, and it was like, gosh, just run Donovan Edwards. He's going to get 9 yards. There's no reason. Don't get cutesy. But it was – I've seen a lot of Washington play this year. Michael Penix was number 1 on my Heisman ballot. That is the most incompetent that he has been all year.
Couldn't
Some
hit
of that
anything.
is the credit to Michigan. They were at his feet a lot. Their pressure came as I thought it would up the middle. Washington has pretty good tackles there, but not great in the middle. But he missed guys wide open.
The
And
one
then
on that fourth down was a big miss.
critical.
Yeah.
Then even on a third down in the fourth quarter, they threw it on a 3rd and nothing, and the receiver hits him right in the hand, just drops it. They had the one they finally hit when they were down 7, and then that came back from a penalty.
Yeah.
It was just everything that could go did. First play of the second half, he throws a pick. It just
That was a heck of a catch by that
it
corner.
was. It was a heck of a catch. Yeah, but no, they get all of the fun.
Kid was like, that's why he's wearing number 2. I had to rein the kid in a little bit today, though.
Was he pretty
He was
cloud nine, surfing on rainbows?
which was all of that's fine.
Yeah.
Wouldn't rein him in from that. That's pure joy. He deserves it. Pure joy is pure joy. He's now trying to talk himself into, and I guess some people are saying that McCarthy's going to come back.
Yeah.
And then then this is where it became a bridge too far. He's like, if he has another great year, it's possible that he would go down as the greatest Michigan player of all time ahead of Chucky Wood. And I'm like, stop it right now. I was like, you love Chucky Wood. What you're saying is blasphemy. Stop it.
He is this. He is the greatest Michigan quarterback ever.
Yeah.
Full stop. He has one loss in 2 years. He won a national title. He beat Ohio State twice. He won 2 Big Tens. Nobody can top it.
Yeah.
That's it.
But he's not Chucky. He's had a lot of things around, and because they've never truly unleashed him.
It's hard because we view Woodson through the prism of his pro career.
Well, and wasn't he
He's the only defensive player to win the Heisman.
Right.
Yeah, and he beat Manning to win it. And at the time that felt like blasphemy, but then he validated it by his pro career.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, no, McCarthy would have. It's a pretty remarkable resume.
I got him to the top 5. I'm like, top 5 all time if he has like another good season. I said, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's kind of like where we are in the sport. Like, and he's a better pro prospect than he's going to go pro. I'm sorry, kid, but he will. It's kind of like Stetson Bennett. Like, and he's better as a prospect than Bennett is. Although Bennett was drafted too, and he made the Rams. He was the backup. But like Bennett won 2 national championships at Georgia in back-to-back years. Like, he's a more his college career in terms of what he's responsible for is more. It's almost like Herschel Walker.
Sure.
No one ever is going to compare him to Herschel in terms of that. So,
No.
But yeah, it was. I wish the game would have been better. The semifinals were awesome. Texas-Washington was awesome, and then the Alabama-Michigan game. Those were really competitive, very, very good games. But this one, it just didn't quite ever get. I'm with you. I never thought Washington was going to win it.
I thought they kind of bungled the end of the first half when they were up 17-3.
Yeah.
And go for it at 4th down just punt it back. They hadn't done anything. Make them go 90 yards, and instead you give them a short field. They gave them a little bit of life, but the way that the second half, that was their moment right there. And then in the second half, the way that you come out, you throw that first pick.
Yeah.
It's a heck of a catch. And the kid was like, "That's why he's wearing number 2."
That's so good. You have to play college football national championship games in the Rose Bowl or New Orleans or Miami or Scott's Tempe is what it used to be. But you have to play it in one of those type of places. You can't play it in Houston. It just had a sterile, very sterile feel to it. Shocking news in the NFL within the last hour. We will get you the details on that. Z gave you a little bit of a teaser on that. We will get to that news coming up next. Listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet. Sports betting partner, your Cleveland Browns, now live in Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Sugardale is a proud sponsor of Cleveland Browns. For generations, Sugardale is committed to providing the best quality meats for you, your family, and your friends. Made right here in the heart of Northeast Ohio since 1920. Pick up Sugardale bacon for your playoff celebration at your local grocery store today. Shocking news out of the league. I did not see this coming. I don't know that anybody did.
I find it to be incredibly surprising.
I just assumed that Mike Vrabel would coach the Tennessee Titans for as long as he wanted.
Yeah.
The end. And not.
Especially the way they finished the season.
Yeah.
Knocking off the Jags in a must-win game for the Jags, like clearly able to reach the team, motivate them. Let's be honest. You know, it was a tough year with the quarterback situations there. I thought it's nuts. I mean, it's the end of an era. It's going to be Vrabel, Tannehill, Derrick Henry, all gone.
All at once, all go. Maybe it had to do with, I wonder if it had to do with Levis. Remember, he really drug his feet on Levis. I wonder if that was it. I don't know. Maybe he was unwilling to compromise or something. But it's done. Titans owner Amy Adams-Strunk wanted fresh perspective after the coaching staff went 6-18 in their last 24 games, 1-9 in the AFC South. Vrabel is the NFL's Coach of the Year in 2022.
1-9 in the AFC South.
Yeah, I wouldn't have had that.
Would not. And their one win was this one.
Was the one this weekend? Yeah. I just assumed that they were going through kind of that build on the fly that Pittsburgh kind of goes through. Like they had this run. They were all in on the run. You knew it was going to come to an end. You weren't going to be able to pay all these guys, and Henry was going to start to have tread on the tires, and it was, that's the way it was going to go. And I just assumed that he would go through the build, and he's the face of the Titans.
It was more like GM malfeasance than anything. The idea that we're going to trade A.J. Brown and we're going to do what the Vikings did. Well, it turns out it's not that easy to just trade Stephon Diggs and draft Justin Jefferson. And they trade A.J. Brown. He annihilates them. That gets the GM fired. I think Vrabel's still a good coach, and I think he still did a good job given what he had to work with.
Incredibly flawed roster. They got old quick. And to me, it felt like a rebuild on the fly. He will be – so Vrabel being a free agent, I would think that he would take some time. I don't know that he would jump right back into it. He's a pretty smart, calculated guy.
Yep.
You mentioned, could there be changes in Columbus? There are a great many people that if this next year doesn't go good for Ryan Day that would want this in a very big way. I have no idea if Mike would want to do that at all.
Has the bar changed in Columbus?
No.
Is it now let's just beat Michigan?
No,
or
no.
You've got to win a national
championship. They signed the number one running back in the portal yesterday, a kid out of Ole Miss.
Yeah.
They got the kid from Kansas State last week, the quarterback coming in. No, I think they want to go win a national title. I think that's it.
I don't want to be get off my lawn guy, but one of the things that I thought was so cool about college football, the pageantry of it, and you still have all of that, but now with the portals, it's too much.
It's way too much.
You don't even have a consistent program anymore.
Well, no, and what Ohio State is trying to do, I mean, the Will Howard kid they got from Kansas State, I'm pretty certain it's at least his fifth year of college football will be next year. So, he played a full career at Kansas State. No, he's fine. But it's more of a reflection of they missed in recruiting. Like J.J. McCarthy, who played last night for Michigan, wasn't great. But, J.J. McCarthy was dreamed to be an Ohio State Buckeye. They didn't recruit him. They had Quinn Ewers on campus.
That was the one.
That's the one. But they had Quinn came early. There were these weird circumstances around it. But yeah, the portal, all of the things individually on college football are a good idea. Free transfer it should be. If a coach can leave and coach the next year, a player ought to be able to leave and play the next year. Name, image, and likeness it's a good thing. You ought to be able to make money off of your brand, your own name, image, and likeness. That's a good thing. The portal windows are a good thing. The early signing day is a good thing in theory, but all of them happening at once without any guardrails is why you get the chaos that you get now, and that's how you get, a kid who's a 2-year starter at Ole Miss at running back and all SEC tailback transferring to Ohio State and inking an NIL deal to do so, and that happened last night. So that's kind of where the sport is, but. If it goes south this year in Columbus, Vrabel would be on a short list. Now, I don't know. It's always been said that Mike didn't like the recruiting part of it, wasn't crazy about it. I think that to be true. But $12 million to coach the alma mater can make a lot of things go away.
How much, you being around an NFL team and understanding now what, Kevin Stefanski goes through over the course of a year, how much different is it? I mean, Urban Meyer kind of gave his peek. He was like, this is just football.
Well,
it feels like
even
it's a
Urban
bigger
didn't
time
coach in this
commitment,
world.
right?
Urban didn't even coach in this world that they're in
Yes.
college football now.
It never ends.
So, yeah, there is no break. I think, like, Kevin can have a life coaching in the NFL. Like, it's a lot of long hours in the season, and it's all
Sure.
football in the season. That's part of it. You sign up for it. But once we go final after the Super Bowl, he's got kind of a 9 to 5-ish until mini camp and training camp and all that. He's got a normal job at that point. And he can, I mean, his kid's the same age as my kid. They play youth basketball against each other. I see him out there, and he's watching his kid play youth basketball. I don't know if a college football coach can do that. There is no downtime.
You're
Now,
constantly recruiting.
you're constantly recruiting and portaling, and they really don't have a time where they can unplug. So lifestyle-wise, I think the NFL is better by a billion.
By a
%.
billion.
Yeah.
So then I think that's hard to go back from that unless you really wanted to. And I think that's probably one of the reasons that, the reports have been Harbaugh's wanted to go to the NFL every single year.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to appease 17-year-old kids who not only you're recruiting them, if you get them and you like them, then you got to make sure they have an NIL deal
They
that
get
they're
paid
happy
enough.
with so they get
Right.
paid to stay. So it's a mess.
And by the way, you may do all that time and recruit them and all that, and they may get annoyed by something, and somebody else says, hey, you can come be a star over here, and here's more money, and now I'm in the portal.
Quinn's a great example of that. He graduated early in Texas at South Lake Carroll, goes to Ohio State for 3 months
His NIL money.
to get his NIL money, made about $1.5 million with kombucha, I think, and then transferred back to Texas and became a Texas Longhorn, which is what he always would dream to doing anyway. So, no, but that's stunning. That's absolutely stunning to me that job is open. It's stunning that they fired Mike Vrabel. I assumed he would have that job until he didn't want it anymore.
And I don't think that's an appealing job at all.
All right, we got Tennessee, LAC, ATL, Carolina.
By the way, you see that Monken's got a couple of interviews, not Atlanta yet.
No, I want Atlanta.
I want Atlanta. Well, it just makes all the sense in the world, doesn't it?
Yeah, plus it's an easy sell because
Georgia.
they enamored with him from the Georgia stuff.
Yeah.
Tennessee, Chargers, Atlanta, Carolina. Who we missing?
Vegas,
LV. Is that it? Washington.
Washington. Yeah, there's now
6 openings.
6. Yep.
So I would go LAC 1.
Yep.
Atlanta 2.
Yep.
Washington's picking second, so you could get your quarterback, new
Washington,
ownership.
fine. Washington.
Yeah.
Vegas,
Be if you-
probably.
Yeah, except you get Davis, but
Tennessee. And then Carolina's
Carolina's bottom barrel.
dreadful.
Yeah, because you're stuck with ownership, you're stuck with quarterback, you're stuck with a roster that's brutal, no first-round pick. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
I think that's probably the order.
I might just toss you out.
Feels like Antonio Pierce is going to get the Vegas job, and I think he's probably earned it.
I think he should.
Yeah, I agree. They played tough for him.
And they liked him, and
They liked
the
him.
players are all going to bat for him. Mark Davis wants to hire him, so I mean,
Yeah, if he wants to, it feels like that's easy. He's the owner. So
that's what they say. It feels like when they say that. Well, Mark Davis wants it. Well, then
Okay.
isn't it going to happen?
he only has to answer for
does
himself.
Antonio Pierce want to go somewhere else? Like, are the Giants going to fire Dable and then he goes back and
I don't
plays?
know. I
'cause
feel like-
didn't he play for the Giants? Wasn't that where he?
Yeah,
did
I
most
just
of his
feel like
playing?
if you're like
He just
Vegas, it all fits.
Yeah.
Yeah, that feels like
Silver
a win.
and black.
Yeah. So I think Harbaugh ends up with the Chargers, is my guess.
All right. So where's
he goes
where's
there.
Uncle Bill ending up? Because New England's going to be open, I think. Don't you?
It's funny. I was reading a report today that said that Belichick basically is acting like business as usual. Nothing's changed. Like he's not going anywhere. The last few weeks of the season played out that way. It's like it's totally up to Kraft if he wants to keep him or not. But if you're Kraft, I don't know how you could, based on how bad it went with Mac Jones. You're going to be picking a quarterback 3rd overall. How could you?
yeah.
Could you do that? They have no weapons.
No weapons.
He can't draft. I mean, you just can't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like that one at all. But the top 2 I think are very good. You're thinking about this: the amount of quarterbacks that are going to be available, because you're going to have 5 or 6 picked in the first round. Like Cousins is going to be available. Fields is available. Russell Wilson's available. Clearly, if anybody wants him, someone's going to talk themselves into him. They will. He's not going to be a backup. Don't you think? One
no.
more shot to start.
Maybe. Or
Yeah.
he's toast, or it's like, psh.
Yeah, that
He
could-
played pretty well this year, though.
Yeah, that's just it. Like
Maybe Vegas.
could be. Yeah. They move off of him a little bit, but that's where you are.
Because, I mean, they're in Jimmy Garoppolo, which is nothing. Look at him.
Legend.
Legend.
We got a couple of tasks for him. Hoff's got to get him some 15s.
Yeah, we got some size 15s.
So we got some size 15s we got to do, and I think we're gonna once the season's over, I'm gonna put him on resurrecting that autographed ball, and see what he can work magic. He can work with that signed ball that
Yeah, I
we
know,
had
he can
without the
definitely,
bladder. See if he can sort that thing out.
I think if anyone can,
That's the guy.
that's the guy.
The Steelers rolled out T.J. Watt for Sunday's game and announced Mason Rudolph will continue starting. Well, no kidding on
Duh.
Rudolph. That's pretty clear.
They've got that's got to be. They are the biggest underdog in the round 1 of the playoffs. Wouldn't you agree?
I mean, I haven't seen the actual.
Me neither.
But my hunch is that would be. I think that
Yeah.
they would clearly be.
Because Philly is on the road and they haven't even been.
Yeah, I don't
great
think that'll be
against Tampa.
huge based on the way that they've been.
That feels like a 5.5 to me. The Philly.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Easy.
Easy.
We have guessed the lines.
Tomorrow, we'll
Right.
be able to guess. You can
Okay.
try and
So you don't confirm
another
anything
win, yeah.
for us, Uno.
What were you doing? What were you hopping in to
dropped
say?
in
gonna
there
let
hot.
you know tomorrow. Stay tuned.
Okay.
You're gonna try and guess the spread.
You liar.
Yeah.
It's a good try at the lie. You were going to give us the facts on the spread, weren't you?
No, I was gonna say
You
tomorrow.
were going to say
on the
tomorrow
show,
you're on the show.
you
You're
can-
going to jump in on the mic to tease tomorrow's show?
Yeah.
Bold, Uno.
It's pretty elite.
Very bold, Uno.
Elite producing. There.
That is. It very much is.
Yeah.
Where's Gibby?
Travel meeting.
Exactly. That's why he's running amok.
That's why it's
Yeah.
a travel meeting.
I like though that Uno feels like I can just punch this button in.
When will Gibby come back and give us the after? So hopefully sometime in the next half hour we'll get an update on the travel meeting from Gibby because I do
Yeah,
like
I'm sure we
post meeting Gibby is a fun Gibby. The Dolphins added pass rusher Justin Houston amidst all their injuries. They've ruled out Jerome Baker and Andrew Van Ginkel as well. They're battered, man. They're just absolutely battered. It's going to be 0. It's going to be
Degrees.
0 degrees in
Yeah.
Kansas City. That might end up being a bigger number too by that. Just with that,
Kansas
not
City
approaching that one.
States.
They do stink. It's crazy.
It is.
It's crazy how they missed on. They took so many swings at a playmaker for Mahomes, and none of them hit.
Well, it feels like this Rashee Rice guy's okay. Obviously, Sky Moore, people thought was going to be a home run. He has not done anything. And I think Kelsey led the league in 20-yard catches, I think, last year.
It's a good point. You mentioned this midseason that
And
he
he's
just has gotten old.
He's just gotten old.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah, you're not going to play at that level forever. And he's older than, I think because he jumped onto the national consciousness with Mahomes, we all kind of thought that he's the same age as Mahomes.
He's 34.
He's 34 years old. Yeah.
He was born in 1989, same
Yeah.
as Taylor Swift.
We always thought I think most people think that he's like 28.
Yeah,
Because
no.
he's like his prominence has been tied to Mahomes, but he was there for a great many years before Pat ever took the job.
Yeah.
So that's the situation there. The Jaguars fired their defense coordinator Mike Caldwell, numerous assistants. I guess you run it back one more year with. Is that still one of the most stupefying Super Bowl results of all time? That Eagles team with Nick Foles and Doug Peterson and Frank Wright, like they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but do you think about who was on that? Their defense was awesome.
Defense was awesome.
But yeah,
I
obviously.
mean, they beat a Patriots team, and I'm pretty sure I'm right on this. I'm pretty sure Brady threw for 500 yards in that game.
in the Super Bowl?
In that Super Bowl against the Eagles, I think he threw for
Yeah, but
500 yards.
Sack strip fumble on the
Yeah,
on the last
I
one.
think
Didn't
he
he
threw
catch up pass in that one too?
might have, but I'm pretty
That's
sure
a
he threw
game
for
winner.
500 yards in that Super Bowl.
Game
He
winner.
dropped the pass. It was thrown to him,
But he
That's-
dropped
and he
it.
didn't catch it.
Yeah,
Sad. All right, postseason career game logs. Boy, he's
got a lot of them.
A lot of scroll in there. So he lost to.
It's the
This
Philly.
is with New England
Yep.
against Philly.
Yep.
28 of 48,
Okay.
58%, 505 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. He was only sacked once, and it was the sack strip fumble on their last possession.
505 yards.
They lost 41 to 33.
That's Chris Long on the strip sack fumble, isn't it? Isn't he involved in that? Because he
I
won
think
a Super
Brandon
Bowl.
Graham, I want to say.
But Long was involved in it because Long won the Super Bowl with New England,
So
and I think he was involved in that play and somehow.
Graham got the sack strip fumble. It was recovered by Derek Barnett, but Chris Long did play in the game.
Yeah.
He did play in the game. So Nick Foles went 28 of 43 for 373 and 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, and he caught a touchdown on the Philly special. I would not have had this. LeGarrette Blount 14 carries, 90 yards, and a touchdown. Jay Ajayi, 9 carries, 57 yards. Their leading receiver, Corey Clement, the running back, had 4 for 100 and a touchdown. Alshon Jeffrey, 3 for 73 and a touchdown. Nelson Aguilar, 9 for 84. Zach Ertz, 7 for 67 and a touchdown. And Torrey Smith, 5 for 49. On the other side for them, they had 3 different 100-yard receivers. Can you name the 3 players on the Patriots that had more than 100 yards receiving in that Super Bowl?
Edelman.
Did not play.
Edelman wasn't in that Super Bowl?
No.
Oh, my God. Gronk?
Gronk, 9 for 116 and 2 touchdowns. Yes.
Holy hell. Brady threw for 500 yards and Edelman didn't
No
play.
Edelman, so think of who would be like a Edelman replacement or similar to Edelman in this era.
Oh, my gosh. It's the guy who, white guy, he's got
Yes.
a gorgeous girlfriend.
Went to the Lions.
Yep.
Danny
Amendola.
Amendola.
I could picture him, but I couldn't
Yeah.
say his name.
8 for 152 for Danny Amendola.
Danny Amendola,
And
8 for 152
and
in a
this-
Super Bowl.
This other receiver.
That's how good Brady is.
This other receiver went 6 for 128 and a touchdown. Wide receiver, who was his last name he shares with a very famous professional wrestler. What you gonna do, Bo Bishop?
Was it? I don't know.
Chris Hogan.
Chris Hogan?
Chris Hogan, 6 for
I almost went, when you
128
said
and a touchdown.
professional, I thought Miles Austin. Was he in the league at that point? Like, who in the hell was
Chris Hogan.
who was Brady? Chris Hogan? A Chris Hogan, a Danny Amendola, and he threw for 500 yards?
Yeah.
That Forget all the rest of it. That's on the plaque with the gold jacket.
So he goes for 152 to
Good
Amendola.
Lord.
1 catch for 46 to Rex Burkhead. 6 for 128 and a touchdown. Chris Hogan. They had Brandon Cooks on this team.
Can
He
I-
only had 1 catch for
Why
23
would they not
yards.
have thrown it to Cooks
He had 2 targets.
12 times? Like,
He had 2 targets. Gronk, 15 targets, 9 catches, 116 and 2.
that's the greatest probably example of the Belichick-Brady debate is right there.
You know who got the lone pick in that Super Bowl
No,
for the Patriots? Duron Harmon.
Oh, there you go. Our guy.
Our guy.
All right, you'll hear from our guy, our quarterback, coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Are you and your pup ready for the game this weekend? Stop by Pet Supplies Plus, Fairview Park, this Thursday, January 11th, 2 to 3. Join the Pup Rally. Wear your best Browns gear for a chance to win prizes. Get your pup's picture with Chomps. Even have a chance to meet a Browns alumni. For more information, visit the Browns Facebook events page. Pet Supplies Plus, a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. And now we head to the podium and your quarterback, Joe Flacco.
Joe, when you go
You're down.
the 2012 playoff run, what was it about that team going into that run that you guys were able to capitalize on? And, for you personally, how were you feeling going into those playoffs? And did you catch, kind of a hot streak at the right time?
We had been through so much as a team at that point, so I think we were able to draw on a lot of that to have confidence. When you look back at that one, we lost 3 games at the end of the year right in a row, but I think we were 9-2 going into that. So you can say that we hit a hot streak for sure, but we were just a really good football team for a few years there. And we had a lot of confidence because of that. We had been through a lot together. Not that everybody was the same, but there was a lot of key guys on that team that had been around for a while and been through a handful of playoff games. So we were battle tested in that respect. I just think every team has got its own little unique personality, and that one had it. And like I said, there was a lot of things that went into why we were able to have the confidence to get through it.
Obviously, the teams are different, but this team has gone through a lot, too, to get to this point. Is that something that you guys can draw on?
I think so. Yeah, it always helps to go through tough times and, truly be tested, whether that's, injuries or close games, finding your identity, things like that. They all help.
You had a really unbelievable run individually that postseason. I mean, that was just about every one of those games. Is that the best you can remember playing?
A bunch of things just came together right at the right time. We kind of manipulated our front a little bit with who was starting in our offense, on our offensive line, and I think that really was a big part of it. And then things just kind of go your way. There's a little bit of fate that's involved there. I mean, we got off to a good start with a home game against Indy, and then went and played a crazy game in Denver, and then we went back to New England where we had some history. I mean, that was the 3rd playoff team I think I played up there at that point. So like I said, just in that unique instance, we had been up there a bunch of times, and we had lost an AFC Championship game there the year before, so there was definitely things that we could draw on at that time.
You prepared to face opponents, a second time a lot in your career. Is there anything different going into this week that you do differently?
You just go prepare. I mean, I've said it to some of the guys, there's not this daunting task of getting ready to prepare for 20 games. You're preparing for one game, and that's it. You're promised one game here. So I think I think that's something good to fall back on. I think you can get comfort in that. One game. Prepare as hard as you can for 1 week, and then when that's all done, we'll pick up and see where we're at. As far as playing these guys a couple weeks ago, I'm sure there's things that we'll take, from the time that we played them, but each game is its own unique challenge, and these guys are a good football team, and we're excited for the opportunity to go play a tough game.
How important do you think playoff experience is, and in what ways does it help, having been there before?
I'm sure there's a level of importance to it in terms of letting the football game come to you, not necessarily riding too high and riding too low when things happen, realizing that it is another football game. But ultimately, the most important thing in playoff games is executing your fundamentals to the highest degree, and I don't think that necessarily takes experience to do. It just takes you staying level-headed and playing within yourself.
Joe, how do you account for your personal record in the postseason on the road is second only to Brady as far as number of wins on the road? How do you account for that?
Like I said, I think it just goes back to doing the basics the right way, not overthinking what it means to go on the road, just going and playing a good football game, and when the dust settles, like I said, you pick your head up and you see where you are.
Can you think back to
Joe? I mean,
I think anytime you get to be in the playoffs and win football games, there's some party that takes pride in that, no matter where it is. This is what we go to work for every day, is to be in this position and to play these types of games. So I think we should all hold our head high. Like, we earned the right to be playing this Saturday, and you should, gain something from that. But like I said, once you lace them up and once you're actually out in the field, none of that matters.
Joe, the Texans found out on Christmas Eve what happens when they don't pressure you. How do you feel they'll adjust to that?
I'm not in their heads. I think that we'll have our plan, and as long as we execute our plan, then all that stuff will kind of fall into place. Listen, when you play in this league, a lot of these games come down to getting pressure on the quarterback, and there's multiple ways to do that. Do you do that with your front? Do you do that by putting pressure with your, by bringing linebackers, by bringing secondary guys? So we'll see. I mean, our offensive line's done a great job since I've been here, and like I said, there's going to be times where teams come try to pressure you, and those usually lead to opportunities if you're on top of your stuff. So it's just part of the game. Every week you have to be ready for teams to do that, and that's part of prepping as an offense. And like I said, I'm not in Houston, and I don't really know what's going through those guys' heads. So we're just going to prepare like we always do.
Joe, can you think back to
C.J. Stroud this season, and did you get to watch him at all on Saturday night? And what are your thoughts on him going against you guys this time?
I've only gotten to watch him a little bit, but he's been really impressive. Just from afar, like in terms of his decision making and the way everything's kind of looked. Like, you can tell he can throw the ball. I didn't get a chance. It's not like I follow college football a ton. And Ohio State always has somebody, it seems like, the last few years that are getting drafted in the top of the draft in the spring. But it seems like he has a lot of arm talent, and the impressive part is the fact that he's been able to make really good decisions all year. So a lot of credit to him for sure.
Can you think back to your first playoff game, Joe? Were you overwhelmed at all, or did you have that attitude that you're talking about now?
You know what? We played Miami. We were down in Miami. We played them earlier in the year and played a good game against them. So I think we just, I can't remember the exact emotions that were going through my body, but I'm sure they were pretty much the same that I deal with today. I don't remember being overwhelmed or anything. We had a good football team that year, and like I said, we had played them and beat them earlier in the year, so I think we drew, maybe something from that. I was probably naive to a certain extent because it probably didn't matter, but as a rookie, you're just trying to, you truly are trying to keep things as simple as possible and do the basics. And I think, like I said earlier, I think that does lend itself well to playing your best football in the playoffs. So,
Joe, when Amari has a game like he did in your first trip to Houston, how different do you expect them to approach him to, not let that happen again?
Yeah, listen, I mean, I think anytime somebody plays like that, you're definitely gonna go into that game and say, all right, we're not getting beat by that guy again. But once again, it's not my job to worry too much about that. It's my job to go out there and play on Saturday and just do what the defense tells me, and you don't want to overthink it either. You don't want to you don't want to take your head off of Amari just because you think that they're going to have some gigantic plan for him. We got to be ready for everything.
What were the benefits of the Cincinnati weekend to you?
Well, I think ultimately it's just this team has gone through a lot, and I think just as a whole, being able to get guys that have been dealing with stuff for the last 20 weeks, since they've come back for training camp, to give them a chance to kind of get off of their feet again and get a little mental breather and get ready for this week.
Is Houston's defense, though, when you studied them going into this game, does that defense look any different from when you played them on Christmas Eve these last couple of weeks here? Did they change anything?
There's slight differences. They have some different guys that are back or a little bit more banged up. Like we just talked about Amari, maybe they'll do certain things with them. But I think this defense believes in what they do ultimately, and they're going to do what they think they do well. They're going to do that. So there's always going to be little wrinkles, but it's our job to attack and prepare for what they do well, and then adjust from there.
Joe, you've been talking about January football since you got here and what it's like. Did you address the team this week about any of that, or has that just kind of been addressed in the process of the meeting?
Well, we had a team meeting yesterday, and we were able to address that a little bit, and just hear from some different stories about what playoff football is all about and stuff like that. And how much does that ultimately mean? You never know, but it is cool to hear some different perspectives on on what people feel like it takes to win at this time of the year.
So you did speak.
A little bit.
What does it take to win? Last one.
I'll say it again. Everybody, everybody puts so much thought into what it takes to win these games, and it's doing the simple things the best you can, and just playing good fundamental football. And this is the time of the year where that stuff shows up. Obviously, there's going to be plays made, and guys are going to make a name for themselves. That something's going to happen over the next 5 weeks that we're going to remember forever. And those are the things that you kind of see. But it's just about playing fundamental physical football and playing a full 60 minutes. And no matter what's going on at the moment, being able to keep the blinders on and keep moving forward.
Did you play D'Amico? You're almost the same age. Can you imagine being a head coach right now?
No. I've never had any aspirations of being a coach. I guess if I really, really thought hard about it, you could wrap your head around certain aspects of it. But man, just all that you have to deal with being a head coach, and the way you have to be in front of the team every single day. I think more so just the scheme part of it. I think as a player, there's a certain part of it that and as a quarterback, you're always simplifying things so that you can go out there and play fast. But to be on top of everything and to be able to teach
30.
every single position on an offense or defense, and then put it all together and build it, it's impressive. It's really impressive. And I know he's played, and I know he's been in it, but it's different than teaching other people. So it's definitely pretty cool to see. You can see, obviously, that he's been motivated since he's been done playing, and probably even at some point when he was playing, to do something like this. So a lot of credit to him.
You're up.
Glad he's our guy. Good stuff from your quarterback, Joe Flacco, and he will lead us down in Houston on Saturday afternoon. A little higher or lower coming your way next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet. Sports betting partner, your Cleveland Browns, now live in Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Part of one of the most passionate fan base in the NFL. Join Next Gen STM, presented by Ticketmaster. Official waitlist of your Cleveland Browns. Being a Next Gen STM is the best chance to become a season ticket member in future seasons. Visit clevelandbrowns.com/nextgenstm to reserve your spot today. See, we're handing out. We got a repost. Get you a chance to win a Browns playoff kit on our social on the Twitter. So there you go. Looks like you got a T-shirt in there and a.
How about it?
You got some koozies.
Oh man,
Maybe a winter cap. It looks like perhaps I can't tell.
A knit cap. How lovely.
A knit. Yeah.
If you hit the repost button,
then you can get it
on the Browns social media platform.
There you go.
On X.
Do we have an example of one of them floating around the building here that we could show the people on the stream? Uno? You don't know.
I have no
Debbie
idea.
Tant's got a dog.
Debbie Tant's got a great dog.
She's got a great
Dogs
dog.
and cats living together. Mass hysteria.
It's all happening. It's all happening, people. All right. By the way, Gibbe's here. Hi, Gibbe. How are you?
Hi.
Good to see you.
Oh, great.
How was your meeting?
It was good. It was fine. It's a lot, man. It's a lot in a short period of time.
Condensed. We were saying that. I like the Sunday.
Yeah, give me that
date.
Sunday.
Yeah,
or even the Monday nighter.
If you win it, it's pretty sweet to get into the second round and move on, and that's a pretty cool thing. And you get the extended rest, but it's that first Saturday out slot's tough.
Yeah, someone I think it was my in-laws last night. They were like, "You don't seem excited." I go, "I'll be excited when we get on the plane. I got a lot to do between now and when we get on the plane on Friday."
Yeah, and I think
we have we figured out we have 17 hours of content we've got to fill
between now and then.
And when we kick off.
Yeah,
that's an awful lot.
Yeah, a lot, and then it's all compressed, so you're doing it in a shorter amount of time. And,
and we need to pre-tape stuff. We've got, due to logistics and everything else.
Yeah,
so we'll get it done.
We always do.
It'll be good.
Yeah, I'm not worried.
That's the way it goes.
Hey, we're going to Houston. I hope the weather is better. I don't know. It was 50 degrees there.
The question
over
will
the last
be,
couple
be
days.
in a dome.
Will Drew join you for dinner this time?
No,
because I didn't get a post dinner. How was the dinner? Did you guys have a nice dinner?
Oh yeah, it's great.
It was great. Everybody was good. Everybody enjoyed the meal.
Very happy.
Very happy meal. What did you order?
Gibbe and I did turf and turf. I got lamb chops and he got a bone-in fillet, and we had a little turf and turf.
Did you guys split it? Kind of a little bit of each.
Yep.
I like that.
Yeah,
it's very good. It's a very good choice out of you.
Date night.
We did we were at a place in Miami, and me and the two oldest did they called it their board. So it was a whole fish, it was a lobster tail, it was shrimp, it was a steak. It was like 6 things, and they just brought it out like on a cutting board and put it on the table, and we kind of just picked it off. It was amazing. It was so cool.
And had I known where you were staying, I thought you were more in the Keys, like into the Keys, because you were on Miami. You were like
Key Biscayne.
Yeah,
Key Biscayne, which is it's the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought you were further
Miami.
in because I was
way
like,
more.
North Miami Beach or North Miami. I have some great things. South Beach. There's a skillet fried chicken at a place called the Yardbird.
Oh yeah, Yardbird. I've eaten there. Yeah.
So it's fantastic little place.
Yeah, that's
and there's
good.
a few other places I was.
I was in Florida for a lot of years, and I was been at the Orange Bowl a lot, so that it was something I was familiar with. What I liked about Key Biscayne is that you have the proximity of all the things about Miami that is cool, but you're also you don't feel like Miami at all.
Yeah, yeah.
It feels like
a little safer
Caribbean.
For the
you can't take the kids to the Fountain Blue.
No,
the Clevelander. That's not going to work for the children.
No, but it works for a lot of other people.
It does, yeah. And we did go down there, just so they could see. Here's South Beach, boys. Not at night.
Yeah, no,
but during the day.
Family friendly during the afternoon.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
There you go.
All right, we got a little.
Did you take them to the Heat team shop?
We did. We did Heat. You know what I had? So NBC loves him. Tyler Hero is one of his favorite players, so that was easy for him as a kid. Loves Kentucky, so that was easy. And they wanted jerseys, so Bootsy got. I said, well, Bootsy, you got to go with D Wade. I think get the iconic D Wade jersey. That's the one to get. And Beamsy was really struggling. I said, you know what I think would be pretty money? 6 James. So we got a 6 James. It looks awesome. I said, that is so cool.
What color?
Black. The black. Yeah. And it's like, I don't know if they'll make it for you, Not sure if they'll make it for you.
This is a tough one for Gibbe because
I know
Bowling
it's a
Green
tough
was
one for him.
I'm not
earlier.
going to besmirch
Now we're
the
getting
child.
But I thought
I'm not
like
gonna
he kind of
besmirch
lit
him.
up, and then when they printed, I didn't know if they'd print it because he's still
I might
active.
besmirch his father for horrible advice, but
He's still active, so I didn't know if they would print it
oh yeah,
like an active player. I
and
mean,
didn't
I didn't
leave
know.
like in the
no,
greatest terms.
no. But they were more than happy to. So it was. So I thought that was a good one.
So it's like a 1 of 1.
yeah, I mean,
I
you
mean,
can't,
it wasn't-
you can't get it anywhere else. Other
They
than
actually
their
did
team
the
shop.
printing right
They
there.
printed it. They printed a 6 James.
It's awesome.
I thought that's a good one. That's cool. It's really cool.
It is a good one.
And by the way, like he came back here and won. So
Right.
everybody wins.
Water under the bridge.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. So there you go.
Why so angry, Gibbe?
I'm not angry.
We're gonna get a title this year with a guy who before this was predominantly known as a Raven.
Yeah.
That's okay. Like for what we had a conversation. No,
when
no,
it
hold
benefits
on.
us.
That's
Hold
okay.
on, no. Like we had a conversation about this the other day, and I'm like, I never viewed him in a negative light the way that I view Big Ben. I just knew that the guy dominated us.
Do you think that's
But-
generationally? Because you're old enough. We're 40. You're old enough, and you're born and raised, where your hatred was of the Pittsburgh Steelers overwhelmingly.
Yeah.
Like I was just having this conversation with the boys when we were on break, and Beamsy said, "Dad, why isn't the Battle of Ohio the biggest rival for the Browns?" And I said, "Well, I think it's the Steelers is the one that most people hate the most." He said, "But I don't get it. Like they're in our state. Like why don't we hate them the most?" And I said, "Well, it's history and all of those things." But there is the trick, and I was explaining to him. I think probably the most hated team for both of those teams is each other. The Baltimore and Pittsburgh's rivalry in the 2000s.
Oh, yeah.
Was just red hot.
Yeah, that every single game was within 3 points. They're
And they
physical.
hated each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Violent affairs. Yeah.
And he said, "Well, who do you think Cincinnati hates the most?" I said, "I know they hate Pittsburgh the most,
Yeah.
for sure." So, like, we hate them the most. Cincinnati hates them the most, but they
Kimo
hate
von
Baltimore the
Oelhoffen.
most. Yeah. And then I always felt like the Ravens kind of get a bye because they were us.
War of the Browns. Right.
So, yeah, it's a tricky thing.
I think
Absolutely.
I think the hatred is Steelers 1, Art Modell 2, and then everybody else is like doesn't matter.
Yeah. You could be headed in for a golden era here, though. Like, if ever you can have a situation where Watson and Burrow, because they're both young enough, where if they both were to be healthy for a while, you feel like it's there simmering.
Lamar.
Well, Lamar, of course. But, I mean, in terms of I just meant the Bengals.
Battle of Ohio.
Yeah, the Battle of Ohio thing. Like, they've never really been both great. Like, it was simmering in the late 80s when they were good.
Absolutely.
And we were good. And
Yeah.
you had Weish on a mic and all of that. Like,
Boomer
there
and
was,
Bernie.
yeah, you had that where they were both, but that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
So they've never both been good at the same time in the last 30 years or so.
It flared
But
up
it's
a
there.
little bit with Baker.
Yeah,
and with Burrow.
For sure,
It
and I
was
think
there
it'll
at
be
first.
there.
Well,
I think
'cause
it'll be there
Burrow-
next year.
Yeah, Burrow really couldn't beat us.
Yep. Exactly.
No,
He didn't beat
No.
us until last year, the second
Yeah.
game last year.
Well, and then the crazy thing for him is he grew up a Browns fan.
Yeah.
So there was that part of it that was out there too. So, yeah. All right, time for a little higher lower presented by Keep It Fun Ohio from the Ohio Lottery. Remind you to know your risks before you gamble. Gibby, what do we have here?
QB confidence rankings. The list based on how we feel about the quarterbacks right now going into their playoff.
Who is we?
I don't know.
Uno?
Who did this?
This list is via your good friends Griffin Uno.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
The Griffin Uno list.
The Griffin Uno list.
We worked tirelessly on this.
All
this
right, I
morning.
like it.
I was like, you know what? I don't like any of the power rankings out there. Regular
Uno
season's over. What are we going to do here?
Yeah, it's-
I'm like, you two come up your quarterback confidence ratings, and I'm going
I
to have
like
the
it.
other guys
This is
destroy
what you
them.
were trying to hide from my eyes earlier.
Yes.
They were working on a secret project. I walked over, and they're like, no, you can't see this.
I like this. Good job out of both of you. Good work.
All right. Hit it, Paulus.
Higher or lower?
Number 1 is Patrick Mahomes. Higher, lower, just right. Can't
Yeah,
go higher.
he's
Lower,
one.
just right.
He's one.
He's number 1 going
Because
into the playoffs.
your confidence,
In your
is in
confidence.
of him, not his team. This is just a quarterback confidence, not their circumstance. Mahomes is number 1. He's the right one. The worst he's ever done is an AFC championship.
I think
game.
Zagura's like rewriting the entire. Zagura's doing his own power rankings.
Well, there's a lot that needs to be shuffled here, but I think at number 1 it's Mahomes. Z?
Yeah, 100%.
All right. Number 2 is Allen. Number 3.
Well, hold on. Stop at 2.
Yeah,
Stop at
stop
2.
right there.
How can Josh Allen be 2?
Uno, defend yourself.
Josh Allen, to me, playing some of the best football in the NFL right now. To me and Griff.
This is going to be us putting you on trial, is what this is going
Griff
to be.
said that I have to do all the talking for both of us. So
Oh, that's unfortunate.
He's playing really good right now. And I know he's
He
got
is.
turnover problems and all that, but
Did you see the 2 picks he threw in the first half against Miami on Sunday?
I saw him win against Miami.
in the end
so
zone?
that's all I really worried about.
Did he win? Allen should not be 2 on this list. If it's quarterback.
He keeps playing well in the
quarterback.
playoffs. He keeps running into Mahomes. I think if he gets Mahomes at home, like in Buffalo this year, it's a new story for Josh.
I think you got a Super Bowl winner at 3. You've got a Super Bowl winner at 4. You've got a Super Bowl participant at 9 and a Super Bowl participant at 11 on your list here. And you have – so I think Allen should be lower on this list.
Worse. Higher number.
Because what you're trying to
lower
do is
ranking.
you're not ranking their situation. You're ranking the confidence you have in them.
Yes.
So to me, Stafford should be 2.
I have Stafford 2 as well.
Next.
That's why I wrote this out. So
Higher or lower?
Yeah, I should have
All
done
right.
this too.
So Josh Allen was number 2.
Yep.
Matt Stafford was 3. Our own Joe Flacco is number 4.
Let's just go to number 3.
Do we skip number 4?
Just go one by one.
Well, I mean, don't you think?
Just attack him.
It's not an attack every
and then
time.
He has to represent.
Yeah.
We didn't want to tell you who it was by until the end so that this was avoided.
It would have
You
been.
just
It could have
attacked
been worse.
One
This
by
is
one
elite
by
radio.
one.
It
It
but,
could have been
yeah.
worse the other way if we're like, who are the bozos who did this?
Right.
Fire them. How do they have jobs?
I don't think.
It's not terrible.
It's not terrible at all. No, there are just some changes. All right, my 3, and this is based on what we're seeing, at least how I feel right now. My 3 is Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar Jackson's playing elite football. He's MVP.
The thing that happened with Lamar Jackson, and by the way, Prescott should get some love for MVP too. He's 4,600 yards, 36 touchdowns, I think 9 picks.
It was in our
He's been
Fact or
great. They're the
Fiction
2
on
seed.
Sunday. I'm like, Fact or Fiction, he's the best quarterback in the NFC right now.
Well, the thing is, you have that Purdy game against the Ravens that's hanging out
That was
there.
terrible.
That was
And
terrible.
against us was terrible.
Yeah.
He lit the Cowboys up, though.
He did. Yeah, he did. Yeah, I think Lamar's definitely ahead of Allen. Lamar has
Yes.
the other thing that's interesting about the Lamar part of it is the Monken part of it.
Well, yeah. That's
We
why
knew
we're
that.
getting him out of there.
We got to get him the hell out of there. We knew that's how that would go because some of the most enjoyable stuff was
Him hanging out in here.
one of these years when I'm done, like some of the stuff Todd said that year.
Right here. I think he was standing right. Maybe it's standing right here.
Right there.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. This is going exactly how it looks.
Yeah.
I'm with you on Lamar being higher on this list. So I think he should be ahead of Allen.
So
I would have him ahead of Allen.
Mahomes, Stafford, Jackson, Allen are my top 4.
I'm nervous on Allen, man. Allen and Prescott, to me, like, do you trust, if they have the same roster, would you trust Prescott or Allen more?
Allen.
But it's not by much.
I know he's going to turn it over, but he's also going to make more plays.
He will make more plays. Yeah, I trust Flacco a lot.
I have Flacco 5.
Yeah.
We might as well just keep going here.
All right,
because
go ahead.
Are you okay with Allen at 4?
Yeah, I think of all. Let me run this by both of you. Does he have the most quarterback pressure of anyone in the league going into this postseason?
Allen?
Yeah.
I don't know because I think Lamar's got a little.
They
But
both do.
Lamar was off the
1-3
grid
in
the
the
last
playoffs?
couple of years. Like, they were off the grid. They kind of are the 1 seed. It kind of shocked everybody. They were the 1. Allen has been the Bills were the pick to win the Super Bowl a year ago. They've been knocking on the door, and now they have kind of a battered Chiefs team to get through. We're on our 4th. We played 5 quarterbacks. We're not playing the quarterback we thought we were going to play. Burrow's not even here. Like, if ever there was a year for them to do it in Buffalo, it feels like this would be it.
All right,
I guess that's where I'm coming from with that.
I hear you with that. What I'm saying is Josh Allen, I think, has been better in the playoffs than people realize. I mean, there was
for
a
sure.
year that he lost. He threw 9 touchdowns with no picks in a couple of games.
Well, Mahomes, he left him 13 seconds that one
Right.
year, and they went and did it.
All right, so his postseason career stats: 64% completion, 17 touchdowns, 4 picks, quarterback rating of 100, and
he's been
he's
good.
run for 417 yards and 2 more touchdowns. Oh, and he's caught a touchdown in the playoffs as well. So he's run
He's
for
been
2,
very
caught
good.
1, thrown 7. Yeah, I got him at 4. I feel pretty good about that. I mean, he can't. To me, he's either 3 or 4, and I'm with you right now. I think what Lamar and Monken are doing right now is pretty darn good, so I have him at 4. But
Yeah.
and to me, there's even a little bit of a break after those top 4. Then you're into a next tier, in my opinion. And that next tier for me could even go down to number 10.
Okay. Next.
Higher or lower?
The dynamic duo. Yeah.
I was just saying, so by the way, we have the same top 5 as they did.
Yeah, they're not that
Just
far
in
off.
a different order.
Just different order. Yeah.
All right. So their 6 through 10 is Dak Prescott at 6, Brock Purdy at 7, Tua at 8, Jalen Hurts at 9, C.J. Stroud at 10.
Okay. An egregious.
I'm speeding it up a little bit. We got to be
an
up by 25
egregious
here.
disrespect of Jared Goff on this list.
Yeah,
that
he
is
did
the
quarterback
first thing
in a
that
Super Bowl.
that jumped out at me. I go 6 Purdy, 7 Dak, 8 Goff, 9 Hurts. Hurts would be higher if he was playing normally. He'd be top 4, but he's not playing normally at all. In fact, they look broken. 2 at 10.
I would have Tua lowest of those. I might even go so far as to say Goff ahead of Purdy because I've seen him do it. I've seen him get all the way there. Like
Purdy was rolling last year.
He was, but he got
before
hurt, so we just haven't seen it.
Yep.
But yeah, I think Goff is the most disrespected on this list. I think Tua, he was bad in the
Oh, my
game this
goodness.
weekend.
Yes.
They didn't beat anybody good all year.
Nope.
Not one.
No.
So he's got to be. He's definitely lower than Hurts. Even though Jalen is hurt, he definitely should be below him, and I would have him last on this list.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think that's all about right.
And then the last 4, I went Stroud, Baker, Jordan Love, Mason Rudolph.
Yeah. Just Stroud's a rookie.
Well, we don't know what
Just
to
we just
expect.
Don't know how he's going to do. Rookies in those
Baker's
spots.
won playoff games.
Let's
and
hope
that
he's
puts
still
him
right
ahead
there on Monday.
That puts him ahead of Love and Rudolph. By the way, Love is playing very well.
I just don't. You and
I
I
like
talked,
watching him
well,
play, man.
You
I'm
and I
telling you.
talked about it last week when you were out. Like the moment we start to like him,
that's true.
They go.
But
in
you
the
said that, and then
crapper
they
for
came
like 2 or
through.
3
They looked
games.
pretty good
and
in the
then they
final
come
game
back.
this season.
I was all in on them.
Yep.
And then who did they lose to?
They had 2
It was
straight
right
weeks.
after the Steelers. While we were liking them, they looked good, and then I think they won, and then
lost.
they had a couple like bad losses in a row.
Yeah.
Minnesota maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then they come back and they win on Thanksgiving. Like,
yeah, they did.
just-
Well, that's when we fell in love. We're like,
Yeah,
'cause we
we're
both
back
picked them
on.
to beat the Lions.
Yeah.
And
Hold
then they
on.
lost a couple in a row, and it was like, what is going on?
They'd have lost to the Giants in there on that Monday
That's
night.
it.
That was
That's
really
the
bad.
one. It was the Giants
Tommy
lost to
DeVito.
Tommy DeVito.
All right.
Ya boy.
Give a Jordan
Tommy
Love.
Cutlets.
Jordan Love. Guess the stats. Jordan Love's stats for the 2023 season.
All right.
Yards, touchdowns, interceptions.
Touchdowns, 23.
Okay.
Like 30 something, right?
It's not how Guess the Stats is played. Uno.
Sorry.
Wait.
Uno. Do not speak
Uno's
unless spoken
unspoken on the
to.
other side of the glass.
Did you want to be included in Guess the Stats?
Oh, no, he's already looked it up.
No,
can't
I don't
be
have it
included.
looked up. I was guessing 30 something. August
Yeah, but
31.
you weren't involved in the game yet, Uno. Just wait a second.
Uno's antsy.
He's
today.
very bold today.
Yeah,
He's
he
very
jumped
bold.
in earlier.
gotta get
But he jumped in
downstairs. We have
earlier
co-
to tease tomorrow's show.
Yeah.
He's jumping in.
Uno.
You're because you were in a meeting.
You're in a meeting.
He's unfettered now.
Settle.
You can tell he's healthy again. He's back. He's
He's back. He's got his full juice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3,100 yards, 23 touchdowns, and what's my other one?
Picks.
Interceptions.
I feel like he's probably thrown his fair share, probably 14.
All right, so we've got.
He's got 31, 23,
31.
14.
I just go with numbers that
Do you
sound
know?
good in my head.
I
but
don't
probably
know.
Do you want
I
to
don't
guess?
know.
Do you want to throw your hat in the ring?
NBC had him in fantasy, so I know that the yardage is better than that. I would say the yardage is closer to like I'm going to say like 3,600.
Okay.
I would say that the passing touchdowns are in the 30s, low 30s. Interceptions.
Can you put a number on that, please?
33.
Thank
And
you.
I would say that the interceptions are probably 9 or 10.
Jordan Love this year threw for
Did he really?
4,159 yards.
I was within 1,000.
Wow.
He
There
threw
you go.
for 32 touchdowns
Got that one.
with 11 interceptions, completing 64% of his passes, quarterback rating of 100.
He ran
And
for touchdowns, too. Yeah.
He ran for 247 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
41, 59, 32, and 11.
It's pretty good. In the old days, that'd be 38 because you play the extra day, so there's a lot more 4,000 yards. But that was crazy. That's nuts. No, he's good. He's good. He did what Rodgers couldn't do. He want to play in game.
Yes.
Rodgers didn't do that a year ago.
Gentlemen, good job.
Good job by you. Good job, boys.
Good
In
job,
there.
guys.
Yep. The Rolling
Thank you.
Stones Hackney Diamonds Tour will be at Cleveland Brown Stadium on Saturday, June 15th. Tickets on sale now. Visit clevelandbrownstadium.com/Rolling Stones for more information on that. We have Coach coming up next. Is that the way I
Coach
understand it?
live before the
Coach
team hits
live
the practice
before the
field
team
at
hits the
3 o'clock.
field. Coming up next, listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Car, truck, or motorcycle accident caused you injury, call the injury lawyers at 1-800-ELK-OHIO for a free case review. Elk and Elk's proud partner of the Cleveland Browns. Coach will be addressing the media here live in just a matter of minutes. What are you looking forward to hearing from him?
Health updates.
Yeah, where are we?
So the 3 that I'm focused on the most, maybe 4, I should say. 1, Dustin Hopkins. 2, Grant Delpit. 3, Juan Thornhill. And then 4 would probably be Cedric Tillman.
Browns not practicing today. Amari Cooper, rest and heel. Dustin Hopkins, hamstring. Kareem Hunt, groin. Greg Newsome, knee. Pierre Strong, back. Cedric Tillman, concussion. Juan Thornhill, calf. And I believe Coach is coming to the podium as we speak.
Coach is up.
Let's go to Coach.
Okay, excited about the opportunity we have in front of us, going down there to play a very, very good Houston team. We have to have a great week of preparation. What we've talked about as a team, just this is the time where you really have to have a great week of preparation, whether it's a meeting or a walkthrough or a lift or practice, whatever it is. So the guys understand that, and that's what we'll get ready to do today and starting this week. We're also excited that we're the first game. We don't have to wait an extra day, so we get to get up and go. But looking at this game, I know we recently played this team. As you know, they're different. Everybody's different each week, but C.J. Stroud's a great player. I mean, he's a great player, so we did not face him in the first one. There's injuries that guys that are back on defense that they didn't have. They've signed a couple free agents on defense, so really, as everybody knows, you're a different team week to week, and certainly this is a different team we're facing, but I know it's a very, very talented team. They're very well coached. I have a ton of respect for D'Amico, his entire coaching staff. So it's a great challenge, but we're really focused on the work that's going to go into it this week. But with that, I'll take any questions.
Kevin, do you expect Dustin to kick for you guys this week?
I think it's unlikely.
Kevin, what stands out? You mentioned CJ when you watch him on tape. What stands out?
Yeah, he's awesome. I remember watching him early, Tom, because we had some crossover tape and getting ready to play Baltimore. I know he played in that was his first game. And I think even in that game you saw some plays and some throws where you knew right away that kid was really, really talented. And I know the state has seen him play quite a bit. So he's a very talented young man. And I think the tape is what we as coaches always kind of go back to, and he's got some really great tape.
Kevin, I couldn't anticipate it, but would you in the future instruct your kickers not to do it what Dustin did?
Yeah, I think it's always that fine line, Jeff, where you want to make a play for the team, you want to hustle, but you also don't want to put yourself in harm's way. So those are things we talk about, but you can't deny that our guys have great effort out there.
Kevin, obviously Grant could be activated this week. Is he not ready? Or is he still be activated?
Yeah, still could be.
You talked about the changes you're going to see with Houston. What difference could it make having a guy like Will Anderson and even Grenard who's able to play more?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like everybody. You want all your players to be healthy at this point in the season. Everybody's dealing with it in varying degrees, but those are some really, really good edge rushers they have.
How do you feel about your receiving core, the health of your receiving core heading into this game?
Yeah, feel good. Obviously, Ced's still in the concussion protocol, but I think all the guys are doing well.
Some players spoke at a team meeting that have had Super Bowl and playoff experience. Why do you think that was an important exercise for them?
They weren't supposed to tell you that. No, I think for all of us, as you get started on the second season, I think it's important to hear from different perspectives. That's all it was.
Was it just playoff experience, or was it guys with Super Bowl experience that spoke?
Yes.
Speaking of
Kevin, Nico Collins, and just seeing the way that he and CJ have developed chemistry in the past game with Tank Dell still out for them. How much of a challenge is he, especially just given his size?
Yeah, I mean, that's it, Ashley. He's just a really physical football player, can make contested catches, has the speed, has breakaway speed. He's a big play receiver, as you saw in the first play of the game the other night. He's really, really talented.
You spoke of perspective. Your rookie season as a head coach,
you took this team to the playoffs. D'Amico's a rookie coach. What is it as a first year coach that you just don't know until you know when you go into a playoff game?
Yeah, I think for all of our players, coaches, you have a lot of rookies on the team, guys that haven't been in that type of situation. It's exciting to be a part of it, but it also goes back to doing all the little things that got you there and really focusing on fundamentals. Those are the type of things that you talk about with our young players.
What about I was more speaking from your perspective as a coach. What didn't you know going in that you learned in that experience,
Yeah, I think for all of us as coaches, Chris, I would tell you every experience you're trying to gain something from. So you learn from wins, you learn from losses. So every experience, games on the road, games in prime time, those type of things, I think all of them you learn from.
Is the feeling with Dustin Hopkins that maybe he's getting close and he can get back for some of the later games? You don't want to waste him in this game and make it worse?
Yeah, I wouldn't characterize it that way, America. I'd just say he's progressing, but I don't think he'll be ready for this week.
Kevin, you said a couple of weeks ago that Miles' leadership, you've seen a huge jump in that. His teammates would say that, which they do. When you say he's made a huge jump in leadership, what does that mean exactly? What does that look like?
Yeah, I think it can look like a bunch of different things. I think biggest thing for me with all of our guys, Jake, is you want them to be the best version of themselves. You don't want them to be something different. So when it comes to leadership, if you're a vocal person, be vocal. If you're not, don't. And if you need to lead by example, you lead by example. So I think just with Miles, he's very comfortable in his own skin. I think he can lead by example, and he does lead by example, both in the building and on game day. He can also be vocal. I mean, he's not afraid to speak up to his teammates and push them, sometimes, pick them up off the ground, those type of things. I think he's grown in a bunch of different ways, but sometimes it's hard to really put a finger on it.
When your best player's doing those things, what does that do for your entire team?
Yeah, I think we're very fortunate to have a bunch of really good leadership on this team. When it comes from Miles and the caliber of player that he is, I think that's just it's a greater driver, certainly, of some of your messaging.
When Amari has the kind of game he did the first time he went down to Houston, do you expect them to do something drastically different?
Yeah, I mean, you play those, you talk through those type of things, and same idea from our perspective. It's that chess match of things that we tried. Are you going to try it again? Are you going to try it a different way? Are they going to adjust? It's all those things that you go into a game, you have conversations about, but you really don't know until you get into the game, and sometimes you won't know until the third series, and so there's always that chess match that takes place between the staff and their staff, and see what their answers are, and you better have counter punches ready.
Specifically talking about the postseason, what can Joe's experience in the league just really help the offense as a whole, but especially the younger guys as they're going through this experience for the first time?
Yeah, I think all of our veteran players that have been in these type of games and veteran coaches that have been in these type of games, I think you can certainly message to the young guys. The rookies are really the ones that are, have not experienced these type of games, and younger players. So you want to just message to them, again, going back to what we were talking earlier, that what wins doesn't change. It ultimately does come down to doing your job and doing all those little things.
I just want to clarify something with Riley. Since Dustin's going to be unlikely to kick, are you guys? Does it reset from the postseason, the elevation?
It does.
It does.
Unlimited. Mm-hmm.
So back to zero. So you
correct.
It's hard to win in September, never mind in January. Joe's playoff record, especially on the road, is it? I know you're confident in it at any time, but does that give you an added boost of confidence?
Yeah. I think when you're talking about Joe's career, he's obviously done this at a high level in the the biggest games. So I think the confidence comes from demonstrated ability. And with Joe, he's done it in these big games. But more than that, I think his teammates see how he works on a daily basis. I think they see him out there on the practice field, in the meeting rooms, and they trust in his preparation.
Jeff Driscoll be your number 2 for this game?
We're working through all that.
Kevin, do you sense the excitement from the city going into these playoffs, you were there before, but it was kind of a different situation. People were not out and about. People were now. Do you feel it?
I'm probably a bad barometer for it, Jake. I'm sure, knowing the city, I know how important this team is to them, and we understand that. We've seen it however many times down in the lake this season. So looking forward to seeing some of those Brownies fans down there on Saturday.
As good as the defense has played all year, there were some bumps on the road. Then you went down to Houston, played great. Do you think you guys gained confidence from being able to travel and kind of play like yourselves down there?
Yeah, but yes, Scott, but as you know, these are one-game seasons, and you got to answer the bell every single week. I mean, that's the fun part, again, of the playoffs. It truly is one-game seasons.
I've wondered this for a long time. What is
I haven't asked, Jeff.
what is your typical daily schedule? Are you one of those 5 in the morning to 1 in the morning guys? Or?
I've always thought, Jeff, that when I get in the building or when I leave the building, there's a lot of people out there that work a lot harder than I do. So I get in the building and have my cup of coffee. I'm not grinding like some of the people, around our country. So I'll leave it a mystery.
Okay, but my point was going to be that, I don't know how coaches do it and still can think clearly at the end of a season when some put in those really crazy hours.
Yeah, it's football. We got a great job. It's fun. We had a meeting this morning with the offensive staff. It was a little loopy because everybody was tired, but the guys were into it and excited about the opportunity. But it is part of our gig. You're up early, you're staying up late.
Kevin, the practice squad has kind of morphed into something different in the last few years. How advantageous is that as a mechanism to kind of stash guys away or whatever you want to do?
Absolutely, yeah. It's a good point because, back in the day, I want to say it was 8, and now it's 16, and, we still fret over not having enough spots somehow. But, yeah, to be able to have guys on your practice squad that you are getting ready to play just in case, I think it's really important. As you know, once you get into the postseason, you have a limited number of free agent signings. So to have guys that know your system, that you trust, that you could elevate in a situation where you need them, I think is important.
Does that make signing veterans more of a priority, or do you have to strike some sort of balance there?
It's a good question. I don't know ultimately what Andrew's philosophy is when it comes to that specifically, but if you look at our practice squad right now, it's a good mix of young and old, and I think it does make sense to have some guys that you just never know. You want to have guys that have certainly have some experience.
You guys can be indoors this week?
2 more? We will. We'll be indoors. Definitely today.
Do you like playing against a team in the playoffs that you have some working knowledge in because you played them already, or because it's so week to week, do you feel like you tear it down with studs?
It goes both ways. It really does. It's unique having played them just a couple weeks ago. Go back to 2020, playing Pittsburgh back-to-back weeks. Those are unique because there's not much new tape coming in. There's a couple games that you can watch and see maybe what adjustments and things that they're doing differently from that first matchup. But it is certainly unique, but I don't think it gives either side an advantage. Okay, thanks, guys.
You're up.
All right, there's your head coach, Kevin Stefanski, on the roster there. You were curious about 3 things. You got updates on some of them. Dustin Hopkins, unlikely, but potentially some good news with Delpit.
Yeah, and that would be a nice return to the safety room because it sounds like, Thornhill not practicing still with that calf. And, again, I kind of took note of it in the game against Cincinnati that Ronnie Hickman was kind of given the starter treatment after playing a little bit early on, and they made sure to get him out of the game. And that said to me that they feel like he's going to be their starting free safety in week 1 of the playoffs. Certainly love Thornhill to be back. He understands the moments. He's a multiple-time Super Bowl champion. He's never been to anything other than the AFC title game or the Super Bowl. So you want him out there and that experience. But, Hickman's played great. It's great news on Grant Delpit. It is a bummer on Hopkins. I'll tell you, Patterson is a good kicker. He is not a kickoff weapon the way that Dustin Hopkins is.
No.
Nor is he a long, if we need a 55-yarder, that's going to be. I'm not sure that club's in the bag.
It's just one more thing that just sucks.
Yeah, and we lost him in Houston, and for D-Hop, his family's all down there. Mm-hmm. So went back there, got hurt. Not even going to get to kick in the playoff game there. It's brutal. It's
And
all because of a kick return.
It's all because of a kick return. Now, Kevin was asked there, like, would you coach guys not to do that, to not chase
Let 'em
it
go.
down? And it's kind of a mixed thing. Like, yeah, you want to do what's best for the team, but honestly, like, you
I'm
gotta
pretty
let
sure
him
you
go.
tell quarterbacks though after a pick, get out
of the way.
Get out of the way.
Can't risk it.
Doesn't
Not
matter.
worth it.
Not
And
worth
it's
it.
but it goes against everything that innately you're thinking to do.
Yeah.
Because in the end, you're all football players.
Yep.
And that's the objective, is to stop teams from scoring touchdowns. So that's a big blow with Hopkins looking to be trending on, as Coach said, unlikely. The Delpit this week will be something to monitor. Like, how do you get a guy who hasn't played in a long time back?
My
at
guess
this
is
moment?
it would be kind of limited reps. Like when they first brought Thornhill back, he kind of
Yeah.
split the game with Hickman because D'Anthony Bell's playing very well. But all of a sudden we're talking about a back end of a defense against a vertical passing team that's an undrafted free agent from 2 years ago and an undrafted free agent from this year, and then obviously the vet and Deron Harmon, if that's where you're at.
The good news is the corners are healthy,
and they're
great.
excellent. Although Newsome, no indication at all from his press conference today or watching him walk around that he's in any danger of not playing in this game.
No,
same with
certainly-
Amari.
Yeah, it does not seem that way, but that's the part of it. So that's where you stand. They will hit the practice field here in about 10 minutes. They'll be indoors today. Will be the way that goes, as it is inclement outdoors,
And we're playing indoors.
and we're playing in a dome. All right, so much more to come. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, Browns about ready to hit the practice field here in the next 10 minutes or so. You got that practice report. Gibby had the update of who was in and who was out. The most notable things from Coach Stefanski's press conference was the D-Hop. Looks like trending out on that one. And then it's a bummer for him.
But you know what? Score touchdowns. Who cares?
Yeah, they don't have to worry about it. Hopefully, get a win this weekend, and then he'll be available next week in Baltimore, and away you go. Is there any way we're not playing Baltimore if we win? What would it be?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. If Kansas City,
I guess
if Miami
beats Kansas City.
Yeah.
And I think there's no shot Pittsburgh
Same.
at Buffalo. So if Miami at Kansas City is going to be a tough sled in that cold. Kansas City's not great, but you see like two of those guys being effective in that.
Mostert, Achane. They're going to have to get that ground game going.
They'd have to do something they'd have to beat a team with a winning record. And
Yeah.
1 minute.
Something they haven't done.
Well, then again, the Chiefs lost at home to a Raiders team that didn't complete a pass.
It's true.
In quarter number 2. They didn't complete a pass in quarter number 3.
It's true.
Nor did they complete a pass in quarter number 4. And they won the game.
That's true. All is possible in the postseason, my friends. The next level is coming up next. Thanks for listening, everybody. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.